am Joe Drilling, and I am horrified.
Oh
just
no, it's so scary.
terrified of the Order of Ecclesia.
So this is the 31 Nights of Horror. I'm eating some dark chocolate mint something or other. Probably should not have done that during the intro, but
Yeah.
Fuck it. So yeah, we're streaming horror games, and tonight I picked Castlevania Order of Ecclesia because I'm just about done with that Bloodstained. At least I assume I am, assuming that there's not another weird twist ahead.
There is 100% of a map, and I was in the 90s when I finished the game.
Okay, I'm in the 90s, so I think I'm right at the end.
Yeah.
But so playing that game, which is basically just Castlevania Symphony of the Night again. It's like a weird remix of that game.
Yeah, kind of.
In a lot of ways.
Your mouse pointer is on the screen, by the way.
Oh, I have it on the DS thing because sometimes in DS games
I don't think this game definitely doesn't require you to draw like complex seals to beat bosses. That much I can tell you.
Yeah. Also, my controller's not configured, but yeah. So I'm almost done with Bloodstained, which I liked kind of more than I thought that I was going to. I played most of it when I was sick. It won't let me configure my buttons.
Uh-oh.
Wonder why that
Yeah,
is.
I mean...
So anyway, I thought that I would take a look back at... I think we've played most of the other Castlevania...
Yeah, we've played a lot of them. I've been...
this, except for this one.
Yeah. I played a lot of Castlevania games earlier this year because that compilation came out. I played through, I think, all of them. All the ones that were on that compilation, except for the Game Boy Adventure. I didn't play through that because that game's trash. I just totally lost the game. The game is gone.
I turned it off so I could configure the controls. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay. All right. Okay. It's not an on-stick stream without technical difficulties.
If I hadn't been cutting the time real close, I would have done this before we started, but it's already getting kind of late, so...
Yeah, so I played a lot of Castlevania earlier, but I realized that I have not played Circle of the Moon. I haven't played the first two GBA ones since they were new, and I would really like to revisit them. But right now, I am on a mission to get game footage captured and get everything set for the Halloween same name, different game. So there's 2 games coming out this month that I really want to play that are downloadable things. And I have told myself that I am not going to let myself download them until I finish the video, basically. But there's another Contra clone that just came out this week.
Yeah, that game
that I didn't know anything about. Yeah, it looks rad, and I didn't know anything about it until like the day it came out. I saw people talking about it, and I was like, "What is this?" And Patrick Klepek wrote like a preview for Vice about it, and I was like,
the trailer. I thought I'd mentioned the trailer of that from.
Maybe like a long time ago, and I just forgot about it. But yeah, I'm into that. And then finally, the Ninja Warriors, yet again, or whatever the hell it's called, comes out finally in the U.S. this month as well, next week. But I am not going to let myself do that until I have. And actually, I should have gotten Control from GameFly by now, I think, because I got a shipping notification. I feel like at the beginning of last week. Yeah, 6 days ago, I got a shipping notification for Control. So I should have that, but I don't think I've actually gotten it yet.
Yeah, that's a little weird. It shouldn't take 6 days to ship a disc across even if it was across the whole country, really.
Yeah, no kidding.
Through their efforts, humanity avoided the darkness, securing prosperity. But early in the 19th century...
That's bizarre. Anyways, so this game is fun, except get ready, because all of the enemies are damage sponges. Especially in the early going.
I don't really remember this game that well. I bought it I never finished it. I bought it
Ecclesia
like used
was
for like
born
$10,
then as one of those
just the memory
countermeasures.
card only.
Many organizations
Quite a few
were
years
established
after
with
the fact.
same goal.
Yeah. MC Banjo Mike says, "Hello, fellows. Hello, Mike.
Hey,
Get
Mike.
in Discord.
Hang out with us.
Each was dissolved when they failed
It's quarter to
produce
11.
satisfactory results.
I mean, the whole point
Was when
of these
Barlow,
streams is
the
really
leader
just so we
of
can hang out and
Ecclesia,
talk to each other.
finally made a
Right.
surprising
Mike says I ate way too much food and might actually be sick, so I'm not chatting right now. Well, I hope you have a cold, because you're supposed to starve a fever but feed a cold, and if you have a fever, then you shouldn't have eaten so much.
I think he means he's sick from eating too much.
But but he said I ate way too much and might actually be sick, which to me feels like I ate too much and also maybe I have some sort of virus.
I thought he
But
meant
don't
sick and the like might puke up the too much that I ate.
know. Yeah, well, I guess, but then I feel like he would just say I might be sick, not actually be sick. To me, reads like those are two different, unrelated things. Mike says if I have a cold, it's been blasted to oblivion. Well, that's good.
Any news worth sharing?
So I like this game, quite a bit.
2008, 11 years ago.
God, that seems so long, but yeah, that sounds right, I guess.
This is like the final one of these also, right?
Yeah, this was there was the tie-in to the Lords of Shadow games that came out on the 3DS, but I heard it was
Were those
pretty bad.
Metroidvanias or more traditional
Well,
platformers?
those were traditional sort of action platformer things, but the one that came out on the 3DS was supposedly a Metroidvania, but it was like a 2.5D thing, and I think it was pretty much
ugly, and
universally
I know it was.
reviled.
I remember it not being good, or I remember. So Vinny Caravella of GiantBomb.com was way into
Yes.
the
He was
3D
doing
character
Metroidvania.
action ones on 360,
Yeah,
and he
sure.
played that. And I remember there being a running gag on the Bombcast where he kept playing it even though he hated it. So he continually
go.
tried to find the good in it, even though it seemed like there was very little good to be found.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
so
will
think
become
this is-
Dominus, the blade to banish all evil.
So yeah, this is the last one of these for all intents and purposes.
I can't do anything.
Yeah, because you haven't gotten any. What are they called? Glyphs. Yes, you haven't gotten any glyphs yet.
Slide by pushing down and B. Combine two glyphs by pushing up and Y. Oh, that's right.
So, in a lot of ways, this feels like Bloodstained felt like a merging of this game.
It's a sick-ass backflip.
Yeah, yep. A merging of this game and Symphony of the Night. Like, the glyph thing is very similar to the shard binding stuff, although I guess it's like the soul capture stuff from the Sorrow games as well.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's exactly that, really.
Yeah. Mike says, I have mixed feelings about this game. I liked it when it came out, but I tried playing it 2 or 3 years ago and found the enemies had like 5 times more HP than they should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that bothering me at the time, but that seems to be the common complaint that I hear now. But I don't remember it really bugging me when I played through it, but I don't know. I haven't... Yeah.
Well, we're about to find out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and played a couple hours of all the GBA. I think was it last year that I did that, or was it 2
It
years?
might have been 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
Because there was that article that came out on Circle of the Moon, and I spent some time kind of going through that, and I don't know, that game has really kind of boring looking level design. And then I ended up playing through all of Aria Sorrow again, which is still a great game.
Yeah.
I think I like Symphony of the Night is my favorite one of these, and then that is probably my second favorite one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Mike said, Dark Souls proved to me that you don't need to drag boss fights out with padding to keep them exciting. I feel like a lot of people feel like the boss fights in Dark Souls are padded and take too long.
Most of them, once you figure stuff out, don't take too long. There definitely are some boss fights in those games where the guys just have a ton of hit points, but Most of the time, you just die really fast.
Says Ornstein and Smo is like a 5-minute fight, and it's tense as hell. 5 minutes is a long time. Feels like that's like a long fight. I feel like.
Well, so it's like a 2-part boss fight. And the 2 parts are very different, and they can actually play out somewhat differently, so...
Yeah, Mike says you can take out 10% of a boss's HP in one hit in Dark Souls.
Assuming you have like a proper weapon and upgrade it and stay on top of all that stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like that requires you knowing.
The hard part in Dark Souls, most of the time, in all of those games, it's more that it's not difficult to do damage to the bosses. It's just difficult to find a time frame in which it is safe to do that damage. Like, that's what that game is all about. Is like figuring out when it's safe to attack. And that comes down to what kinds of weapons you have and how comfortable you are with the animations that they have and stuff like that. So. This game looks pretty sharp.
Yeah.
That's really the thing that is the thing far and away that a rapier glyph. Alright. What else did he want me to do?
I think you just have to talk to him. Oh, he wants you to put it on both arms.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's the biggest weakness of Bloodstained, really, is just how ugly it is.
Right.
But other than that, I thought it was pretty good. And maybe that second, there's like the first twist near the end of the game, which I thought was really awesome and kind of justified it being and having polygonal graphics in the first place.
You're supposed to attack him. That's what you attack him, and then you can leave.
Great, I know how these games work. It's cool.
Mike decided he was gonna just join the voice chat, apparently.
Yeah. Figure if I'm gonna spew into this.
Yeah, let's get it on camera.
Let's not do that.
What's up, Mike?
Just had a real big dinner. Ossobuco and pumpkin pie.
Or did you just like make too much food?
I both made and ate too much food.
That's how usually one does follow the other.
Even the skeletons take 3 hits to kill.
It's ridiculous, right?
I don't know, it's weird. I really
mean, in the early going of Symphony of the Night, the skeletons also take a bunch of hits to kill. You know.
Look at all these hearts, though.
I love the art style in this game, and there's
really
some good
nice.
music.
Yeah, it looks really good.
And I really enjoyed playing it the first time through. I don't know why. When I came back to it, it's just like, why is everything so long?
Yeah, I think that was.
I guess the answer is you're supposed to equip the devil ring and then never get hit, and it like triples your attack power or something. But you'll die in 1 or 2 hits.
Fun.
Well, you know, it means everything isn't super long. It just means you have to be perfect.
Right.
Boy, there's a lot of talking going on here, huh?
But it is pretty cool the way you go through all these kind of stages, and then you get to the end, and it's actually
maps, right? And
then but then you get to the end, and it's actually like a Dracula castle. Like the last stage is, you know, maybe half as big as like a full map from one of these games, which you're kind of not expecting.
Right.
How was
I've
your?
heard people say they think this is the weakest one, and I think that this is much better than Portrait of Ruin.
I thought Portrait was fine, honestly. Like, went into that with a lot of people talking mess about how bad it was, and I played through and was like, this is just the same as any one of these games, really.
Except it's like super copy paste in the level design. It's like there's half as many levels as there should be, and then there's a bunch of levels that are the same as the ones you already played.
Yeah, it's like there's what, like an
Like
easy and a hard version of every portrait. Is that
right?
I can some kind of chop on the stream here. I don't know if it's just me, but
I don't know. It doesn't say I'm dropping any frames, but that isn't.
But
yeah, also, not much I can
I'm
do
getting
about
some
it.
small hitches here and there, but
Oh well.
Yeah, I don't know. I also thought that the like Charlotte and Jonathan like tag team mechanic felt like kind of contrived and wasn't super useful outside of like a few specific.
I mean, in my memory, you play as Jonathan like 90% of the time.
Right. I definitely played as Jonathan like 90% of the time, and then it was like, oh well, now you need to bring Charlotte out for like one thing that she has to do.
I gotta say, this game looks pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Also, I like the bit where you kind of construct the village by rescuing everyone.
Yeah. I also hated the extremely anime vibes that Portrait of Ruin had. I didn't love that at all.
I mean, that's in
guess
that's in the other ones also.
Well, it's in Dawn of Sorrow.
It's
Yeah.
in Dawn of Sorrow.
And
But
Aria
Dawn
of
of Sorrow is
Sorrow
so
to a
good
certain
that I
extent.
I still think Dawn of Sorrow is...
Aria still had the Ayami Kojima like character portraits and everything.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still
but
think
I
Dawn
mean,
of
the
Sorrow is the
story
best
is-
portable Vania, despite the crappy portraits, because honestly, the portraits aren't that important to the gameplay.
I think that Eric and I were just talking about this, but I don't remember if you were here yet or not. But I prefer Aria of Sorrow to Dawn of Sorrow, but I also like Dawn of Sorrow a lot.
I think it's
I
fine.
need to play I need to play Dawn again. It's been a while since I played it, but in my memories, it was my clear favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of it not long ago for a video, and I mean, I didn't put a significant amount of time in it or anything, but it was still real good. I just didn't enjoy it as much as.
Oh yeah, Magnes. Magnes is really cool.
Yeah, I remember liking this like sort of grappling hook type of mechanic that they added with this glyph.
Is it just? It's just showing me that I can go in all the directions. Cool.
So, right.
This is a fun way to travel.
Yeah, for sure. A cotton hat. That
Put it
sounds like
on.
fun. I am going to. No hat. So
Anyway, I'll probably...
have you finished Bloodstained, Mike?
No, I think I'm very close. I'm almost certain that I'm in the last area.
Are you in the weird Super Mario Brothers 3?
Yeah,
stage?
World 4.
Yeah.
I
guys,
haven't played it in a couple days.
Have you guys fought the evil slot machine and gotten its soul yet? Or
No, I haven't seen any slot machines. I'm at the
So
gambling guy, the money guy.
They did
Who's
that
in, like,
boss
the other
better
game?
in the other game.
I want to say, so I thought that the other game was supposed to be a prequel or something, but it seems like they're completely independent. Like they're
yeah, it
doesn't
was
seem like the
originally
stories
it
happen.
was a prequel, but now it's there. I've heard that the official line is that that's like a dream that she had when she was in her 10-year coma.
Okay,
Like,
sure.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah, because it certainly doesn't seem to follow in any linear order.
no, it really doesn't.
Not open that chest down there, or what?
You should be able to.
There we go. I guess it just was in the right position. HP max up.
That's nice.
That is nice.
Yeah. No, I was too motivated to finish Bloodlines, which overall I actually really liked, even though there's a lot of bosses at the end of that game. I did find Dracula to be pretty tough. He gets a lot easier if you can manage to get through the death fight without taking a lot of damage, because if you got a ton of hearts and a upgraded weapon, that makes a big difference. But I didn't, so I was kind of going in with a fresh life every time, and yeah, I found that last form of Dracula to be pretty tough. Especially the first, it's actually like a 5-phase boss battle. Because the third form has 3 distinct ways that it
death or
no Dracula. Because you have, you got standard teleporty Dracula, and then he turns into a wizard or a witch, And then you have like Demon Dracula, but he has 3 very different ways of attacking you. And the first one I found almost impossible to predict and avoid.
Is that where he just throws all the bones at you?
Yeah, well, that's the very end part. But the first part, he throws claws that explode into fire when they hit the ground. But the pattern, I find, they're fast and then they're hard to predict. And the only way I ever got through that part reasonably well was to just kind of outpace him on damage, basically. And if it dragged on, I would always take a bunch of damage, and then
Yeah, I mean, if you have a lot of hearts going into that, like, my strategy is generally to use sub-weapons as little as possible on the first, the normal-ish forms, and then when you fight the monster form, that's when you...
I got real good at those first 2
boomerangs
frames.
at him.
But if you don't come in... Like, if you come in on a fresh life, you're only going to have 7 hearts.
Right.
And an axe is kind of the best you can do, which the axe is fine. The axe is good for that fight, but it's just that one phase for part 1 of Demon Drac where he can really do a lot of damage to you, and I couldn't find any consistent way to get through there.
Jonathan. Or John.
What? I was playing as Eric.
Good choice, good choice.
I feel like Eric's pole vault is very good against...
I did wind up using that a lot, because you get a lot of invincibility when you're using that thing.
Yeah, yep.
So yeah, that was nice.
Especially on the second Dracula form, because doesn't he like fly up to the top of the screen for part of it? Or am I thinking of
yes,
fight?
he does. And so he only has like 3 attacks when he's in the wizard, or I think it's a witch. It's Dolta. In that form, one of his attacks is he shoots fireballs you have to jump over, and I eventually realized that I could actually use the pole vault to jump over the fireballs and damage him, because you do damage on your way up with the pole vault, so it's good. I don't know, I think that game is good. For whatever reason, it works for me more than the NES ones do. And I don't know. I'm not sure that I like
those games, which is fine, but
I like Rondo Blood a lot.
I'm saying the NES ones.
I don't know why I like stage-based Castlevania games that are not on the NES.
I mean, those other ones are not as stiff and way more forgiving, and a lot of the things.
Rondo definitely is more fluid.
Yeah, I mean, Bloodlines is too, and Castlevania 4 is also, like, those games are all...
Yeah, but I find Castlevania 4 kind of dull.
I mean, that's a fair criticism.
I think Bloodlines is better than 4, but I still also like 4. I think there's a lot of fun gimmicks in there, and I like the whip swinging where it's, applicable.
Yeah, I haven't actually. I basically haven't played the game as John, so I should go back and give that a try. But
it's on the NES thing, right? The Super Nintendo mini thing.
Huh?
Is it on the Super Nintendo?
No. I thought you were talking about the whip swinging in Bloodlines.
No, I was talking about the whip swinging in 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
also the whip
that's
swinging
what I
in
assumed. Joe was talking about like the actual using a whip.
The whip
to
swinging in Bloodlines is fine too. Jesus, Ewok.
Everything all right?
Yeah, my wife just got home and she just gets very excited when anybody comes towards the door, basically. Even if it's someone who lives here. So.
But part of me, I think, it just likes the fact that in the more later stage-based games, they can do more wacky stuff in the levels.
Yeah.
More set kind of things.
If you like that stuff, then Bloodlines is all about that shit.
Yeah. Lots of really memorable little
Which one did
gimmicks
you?
and things.
What do you think? You like the water stuff? The
water stuff is really cool. And actually, think that's one of the more creative levels, period, in Castlevania, where you're dealing with the rising and falling water.
That's probably the best level in that game, honestly.
Yeah, I think so.
The other levels have a cool gimmick, but they were ultimately kind of would be really boring without the gimmick. Like Leaning Tower of Pisa has that weird rotating spiral staircase thing that doesn't really make any sense, but it looks hella cool. So
it is pretty weird.
Yeah, because it's like outside of the tower, and this is rotating.
Right. Well, also, if you're rotating on it,
then
you should be able to just rotate with it.
Just stand on them. Yeah, right.
You don't know about these things, Eric. Have you ever been to Italy?
I mean, no, I haven't. So, what? Like, I guess in Italy, maybe there's like an invisible wall that knocks you off a
The
thing.
gravity's different. Why do you think the tower's leaning?
Fair enough.
I mean, aesthetically, I really like the German munitions factory.
Is this supposed to be?
That is
like playing
peopled
that
by
level.
skeletons.
Yeah.
I don't like. That level's really stupid. That's the one. Is that the one with the weird dancing guy as the boss?
Yes,
Yes,
that is a
the
pretty
clockwork.
dumb boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That game
There's a
has a lot
great
of really
boss
dumb
thing.
bosses in it.
I don't know. Well, yeah, okay, but I really like the dumb golem boss at the end of the water level.
It's really
He
dumb.
just kind of walks around and like punches the ceiling, and
The Swiffer mop.
If you come in there with the special weapon that you can't lose, that you lose if you take one hit. If you can get that and avoid taking a hit by the time you face that stone golem, he is not very threatening.
he's never very threatening once you know what you're doing.
Yeah, but you can do a ridiculous amount of damage to him with that fireball weapon if you have it. You can pretty much kill him before you even before the thing you arrive on lowers you all the way to the floor.
I don't think I've tried that.
Yeah, it's again keeping that weapon takes some practice because if you take a single hit, you lose it. But
Yeah.
It does and also you can replace it. You can keep the flaming spear, but replace the fireball sub weapon.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Having another weapon, which I don't like.
I don't like that. Actually, that is the one thing is that, and I thought that Bloodlines came out after Rondo, but actually, before, but actually it's after. But Rondo is the first game where you can just pick up your sub weapon if you grab the wrong one. I think that's a real quality of life improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least
That
at
game
least
is-
Bloodlines gives you some kind of heads up, though, right?
Right, the candles look different,
Yeah.
which I really appreciate.
Oh, I guess I never really noticed that.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
single flame
Yeah,
new weapon.
then
If it's
it
a double,
will drop a
then
weapon.
it's something
so,
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the Rondo system is the ideal way to go about that.
Right. Yeah.
And then
Barring
using
that-
Skin and Symphony. I mean, yeah.
Right. Which I think in hindsight, I still think it's weird that Symphony even has sub weapons.
It's a little weird. I mean, I don't know. Gives you some variety, but you don't use them that much later on.
Yeah, they're really useful early in the game, I guess. Right? Oh wow.
Yeah, they can be.
Oh, wow.
That spider web is making all of your blood come out.
Yeah, all of your blood.
It was a very
So
sharp
much
spider
blood.
web. I wanted to say at one point, so I was playing it again because my son wanted to watch me play through it a second time, and I cheated in that I used save states just to have infinite lives. I didn't put any down in the middle of sections or in the middle of boss fights, but just to give myself as many tries as I needed to
No,
find.
Limited
Yeah,
continues is a real weakness of that game that is
Well, yes,
ameliorated
but-
by the Genesis Mini's ability to save.
Yes,
Yeah,
but if you have unlimited lives, that game is completely toothless. So I don't know. I found a code at one point to pick up a level with 9 extra lives, and it's oh, I can just brute force my way through this entire thing now.
Yeah,
So-
I have beaten that game legit on a cart with the limited continues and everything. But now when I play through it, I usually just drop a save state at every new stage or checkpoint or whatever. Cause
Yeah, I could definitely see
feel
getting to
just-
that point if I had the time. It's not that hard of a game, but
Yeah,
Some
I mean,
of the
I think
boss
I just
rush stuff is kind of tough, but yeah, I don't know if I'll get there.
Yeah, I think I just the time that I beat it, fair and square on a legit cart, I think I just kept playing until I would just start over.
yeah.
And I just kept playing until I memorized or not necessarily memorized, but was used to the levels and the way it plays.
And if you get good at those first couple stages, you can accumulate lives by finding the one-ups.
Yeah.
You don't ever gain lives in that game just from points, though.
I don't think so. I think you only get drops. But I don't remember for sure.
They sure tried in Vinnyvania to get one-ups by...
Yes,
'cause
I
they spent
know
a
exactly
whole
what you're
hour
talking
whipping poison pollen at the beginning of Versailles and couldn't get a
Yeah.
one-up that way, so...
Yeah, the first episodes of that when Austin is still on are really good.
Yeah, I agree.
It's pretty good that you didn't have to draw a thing on your touchscreen to kill that boss.
I could just kill the boss. Yeah, it was fun. I don't know. That boss didn't seem that.
No, it's at the crab where things start to go downhill.
That
Very
thing
clear
looked like
memories
a
of the crab. I think there's another skeleton boss between here and there that's not that bad, but starting at the crab. Look, there's a lot I do like about this game, but I think I'd rather play a ROM hack that just drops all the boss hit points by
Like
a factor of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
No, like half or
Okay.
2/3. Because at some point you're just doing these same patterns over and over again, and it kind of comes down to either you can do it perfectly for 5 minutes nonstop, or you just bought enough healing items that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's an official ROM hack of Phantasy Star that does like a very similar thing to that from the M2. I'm trying to remember if it's the one that's currently on Switch, or I think it's the one that's currently on Switch. Like if you play on easy mode or casual mode or something, it like halves all the boss hit points and halves your level like you gain levels way faster, so it like kills the grind.
Yeah, that's really good for old RPGs where they just expected you to have nothing better to do with your life than to spend an hour walking around the dungeon fighting battles. And I did that when I was a kid. I was happy to do it because I didn't have anything better to do.
And also you probably couldn't afford new games like very often, right? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Like at one point I had Secret of Mana that I think I'd rented or something, and I was just like going around getting spell levels because I was waiting for my friend to be available to play the main game with me. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm still playing this game.
I mean, that's how I got good at Contra in the first place. Like, I was a kid, I only had a handful of games. I was like, well, I'm just going to beat Contra again, I guess, because I don't have any other games.
That's good. It takes 20 minutes.
Right. Well, when I was young, it took a lot longer than that. Like, when I first started, when I first hit my NES and first played that game, geez, I had to use the 30 life code and continues, like, to get through that game.
Scandalous.
Yeah. It's quite a bit different now, but that's how it goes. But yeah, speaking of Contra, I don't know if that game is like October appropriate.
What, Valfaris? Yeah, I keep hoping that comes to Game Pass. Shit. I
That
keep
looks
hitting the wrong
extremely
button.
October appropriate from what I can tell.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I can make a case, but as I told Eric earlier, I promised myself I would finish the Halloween episode of Same Name Different Game before I start buying new games and playing them. So
Well, you got 17, 18 days left in October, so
yeah. Also, we gotta make room for Illbleed because I still haven't.
Illbleed. Wow.
I've
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
right.
What's a fun, weird
Is that
game?
because the last time you heard it, you shit with fear?
Did I
Yes,
s-
thankfully I was on the toilet, so that was
Okay.
only minor inconvenience.
I got
Yeah.
that working on an emulator last year, but I can't remember if I streamed it or not.
I don't think so. I didn't see anything in the
Your
archive.
pants would remember.
Yeah, right. You would shit with fear.
Oh, get that?
Did you just do 333 damage? That doesn't mean that you didn't miss that glyph.
No?
Sometimes that just to show you that an enemy can drop a glyph so that you'll go back and grind it some more.
I thought all enemies could drop glyphs in this game.
I
no, I don't
you
think
had
so. There's a
I
lot
thought
less
you
in
had
this
to
game
hit
than there
up
are.
to get the glyph. Was there no timing to it? I don't remember.
No,
I don't think it's a timing thing. I think that's just to indicate that, like, hey, if you beat this enemy some more, you might get that glyph. Because it's like, I don't know, it's a much smaller number than in the Aria and Dawn games. And Bloodstained. For that
Yeah,
matter.
Bloodstained, you can just, everything has a glyph. I think the other two games are like that too, right?
In Dawn and Aria, every enemy has a soul you can grab.
Yes.
Man, this magnetic thing is fucking awesome as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very dope. I like it a lot.
I'm gonna look up Order
Let's see.
Ecclesia ROM hacks.
Last year,
What kind of ROM hacks you got for me? ROMhacking.net.
I feel like there's not as many for those type of more recent games, but
Okay, this is an art mod, which is maybe not what I'm the most excited about.
For Aria of Sarah?
For Order of Ecclesia.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone who doesn't think that Shanoa's sprite looks enough like her original art, I guess.
that's
Okay, I mean,
seems worth the
it,
effort.
it doesn't because she has black hair in the anime or in the character art. It's not really anime.
Yeah, so this sprite has black hair and I guess black boots instead of
Whatever.
brown. And her
I feel like
dress.
the reason why her hair is brown is because it pops out better against the backgrounds.
maybe.
We did not play Illbleed last year.
Okay.
You may have gotten it working, but we didn't stream it last year. So.
It definitely messed
Stop
with
hacking
us.
is a funny world of like petty grievances.
Yeah, I'm whatever. You know what? If somebody has that quibble and wants to make that.
I mean, if they want to put in the work, yeah, right, exactly. If they want to do the work, that's up to them.
But like I said, I think on a DS screen, it would probably blend too much with the background. It probably has something to do with why it looks like that.
Second all enemies hit points ×2.
Make it harder. Come on.
That's exactly what this game needs, is for all the enemies to have even more HP. Yeah.
Also, okay, some of the enemies have been like quintupled so that there's 5 of them in a room instead of 1 or 2. Great.
Okay, so I would just say, like, the Castlevania ROM hacking community is just entirely made of people who think these games are easy, actually, and should be harder, actually.
Wonderful.
None of these games are very difficult, I wouldn't say.
No, but it's like when people are like, I'm gonna ROM hack Castlevania 1 to make it like even more bullshitty and unfair, and I'm just like, why do you need that? Like,
if it makes
here's
them
one
happy, let them do it.
Here's one that's incomplete, but it lets you access all the levels in any order you want, so it becomes non-linear. So that seems interesting.
I mean, it's sort of non-linear already because you go back to, you go back to places and everything, but
I don't really want to talk to anybody in these games.
Well, this is not the installment for you then, because you spend a lot of time talking to people.
Aside from the way it looks, one of the other big problems with Bloodstained is that the story is just total nonsense.
It's complete trash.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
But it has like a fetish nun, so I mean, at least there's that.
I mean, I guess.
I don't know. I mean, it's a video game story. I mean,
video game stories don't have to be bad. I played Nier.
They don't have to be, but they often. The story in Nier Automata, as far as I played it, at least, the story was really dumb.
Yeah, well, you didn't play the whole thing, so you played like 5% of the story. If you didn't.
Why didn't you finish the game 5 times, Joe?
I don't know. It was also like, I mean, I've read with the, I'm not gonna go so far as to say I guess it's a twist, but like what the thing in that game, like I figured out.
I mean, look, if you're gonna poo-poo the thing is emotions, and if you don't have those, then that's fine. But
yeah, I saw the Bloodstained story bits, and that's why I was afraid that game was going to be really sort of dreary and self-serious. And it starts off that way, but then you play for like 5 minutes and everything completely ridiculous.
And then an old lady asks you to bring her a pizza.
Yeah. No, that game is actually really fun, but yes, the main story is just bleh. But also, who cares? Because you got a lightsaber and you're fighting a giant demon cat, and I don't know. There's like
I never got a lightsaber in that game.
It's one of the weapons you get with the 8-bit coin.
Yeah, I used the ultimate spear and I forgot what it's even called now.
I'm using the big sword. I don't have the ultimate one. I have like the penultimate one.
I'm using the Zangetsuto right now.
So I was using that for a little while, but it turns out that the ultimate spear was actually better. So I only use the Zangetsuto when it's like required by the story.
I guess I haven't loved the spears in that game. I'm using the katanas. I really like the flying sword, but I haven't been able to get the upgraded version. So, yeah. I don't know. I just got one of the souls. Actually, it's a soul that you can get earlier on, but then you upgrade it, you refine it, and it makes a... just Rosian, I think. It makes like a beam of light that you shoot out, which is amazing. But every single time you use it, she yells the name of the attack. Like every single time, and the way that you wind up using it is by like pulsing it on enemies, so it's just over and over and over again throughout like every boss fight that I do now, and it's really obnoxious, but it's too good not to use.
I don't know which one that is. I had enough materials to upgrade the shotgun arrow thing to full extent, and I just pretty much lay waste everybody in 2 or 3 shots of that.
Yeah, you can do a lot of damage.
Also, and then it just like you can do a ton of damage up close, and then at range you can still manage to do some damage without putting yourself in danger. So
Kill that Metroid before it sucks your brain out.
Some more.
I forget, is there a reason to collect more than one glyph in this game?
I don't think so.
I don't remember if they level up like in Bloodstained. Or
I don't
not.
think they do from getting them. It's been a while though, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's been about 11 years apparently since I played this game last. So, yeah, I ended up getting when you kill the zombie of Simon Belmont.
Whoa!
Nice.
That was sick.
Sword glyph.
When you kill zombie Simon Belmont, who's definitely not Simon Belmont TM, he gives you like what's basically the cross from like classic Castlevania, and if you upgrade that thing all the way, it turns into like a giant saw blade. Basically,
Is that like near the end of the game? I don't remember that.
You have to get a special key and find the room that he's in.
Oh, you know what? I might have that key. I've been to a couple of those hidden rooms.
That's also where you get the slot machine.
Okay.
The Carpenter,
Yeah. I've done the
slot
Carpenter
machine and the Simon Belmont's zombie. Those are all the hidden.
Well, there's also the 8-bit world.
The 8-bit world.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did that.
Yep.
I found one of those keys, but I don't think I'm going to go out of my way to find any.
They're really hard.
Some of them are
areas.
really tough. The Carpenter is the hard. He's the first one that you get access to, and
I got that one, and he kicked my ass, and I was like, I don't think I need to do this, so I'm not going.
Yeah,
His
I beat him, but he used
also
a lot of
isn't
healing
that
items.
good, like honestly. Well, the big thing to figure out is that he doesn't like. I initially thought he would just keep summoning demons like forever, so I stopped. I just tried to concentrate on him instead of the demons, but it turns out he only summons 3 demons. So once you kill the demons, it's a lot easier to just deal with him.
Boy, not a lot going on in this level, is there?
No, there's really
Welcome to Order of Ecclesia, land of hallways. Yeah, the 8-bit realm. If you want to find that, it's right near where you fight Jeeble. It's instead of going into Jeeble's room, just keep going up, and there's actually a secret wall that you have to break in the ceiling. A secret ceiling, if you will.
Yeah, I'll have to check.
And
that out.
it's pretty tough. There's a boss in there, pretty tough. Not as hard as the Carpenter, maybe, but close.
Mike, did you play Curse of the Moon?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's a better game than Bloodstained.
I'm having more fun with Ritual of the Night, honestly, because it's just so full of goofy stuff.
It's very full of goofy stuff. I don't know. I mean,
I like Curse of the Moon.
is so short. It's hard. Like I beat it like 4 times, but like it's hard to 4 or 5 times. I beat it several times, but it's hard to say because it's so short. Like I spent less time beating it those 4 or 5 times than I've spent beating Bloodstained, the main Bloodstained game once. But I mean, Curse of the Moon was it made my list for last year, as you all know. So that's good. It's a good ass game. It's a good ass not Castlevania. It's better than some that actually are Castlevanias.
I agree with that statement.
Oh yeah, I mean that's not really saying a lot in some cases, but
No,
I would say
true.
I would say that if that was a Castlevania, it would probably be. I would put it up just behind Rondo and up with 3 in the upper echelon of that style of Castlevania game.
Yeah, I agree.
For me.
And especially, I had the most fun with it when you get to the.
I think
point where
it's better than 4, and it's better than.
I guess I didn't realize 4 was not that highly regarded.
I like 4 is okay.
So there are certain people who hold it in extremely high regard, and some who don't. As with a lot of games, I guess. But there is definitely there is a group of people for sure who would say that 4 is like among the best.
I think that
if not the best.
I think that the further we get from when 4 came out, the less good it is. Like
it was a launch game for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
right?
like
I mean, we're pushing 30 years on that.
It's like if you played that game back then, or like even like 10 years ago, there was a lot more interesting about it. But as time goes on, it's like this music is kind of corny and.
Oh, I like the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack's one of the best parts.
Some of the songs are very good, and some of them are. Some of them have really good parts, and some of them have.
Yeah.
And then the other parts are really dumb.
the freeform jazz flute in the water level is like not great.
I mean, it's not great, but it's also completely amazing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Right.
Sure.
Better or worse than the Resident Evil save music?
That game is a lot like
Worse.
Bloodlines.
No, the Resident Evil save music is actually really good and kind of haunting. And
sorry, I didn't mean save. I meant basement in the Resident Evil remaster.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
No, you're right. The Resident Evil save music
that
is very good.
The other day, someone was talking online about how So this was I don't like to just correct random people on Twitter when I can avoid it, but someone was like, "Oh, Capcom's put literally almost every Resident Evil on the Switch," and I'm like, "Oh, that's not really true." Whatever. I get what you're saying. They've done 0, 1, the remake of 1. 4, 5, 6. There was a version of 7 in Japan that apparently wasn't great.
It was just streaming video, I think, right? It was
like a Stadia-style interpretation of Resident Evil 7. But it really made me realize that the original PlayStation games have been kind of forsaken by Capcom, and that Resident Evil 1, it's on the PlayStation Mini, but it's runs at 50 hertz, and that's not good because it's the PAL version. And
no pal of mine.
Yeah, and the like prior to that, to get the actual original version, you would have to go back to the PS3, PSP as a PlayStation Classic.
PlayStation Classic, yeah.
But that is the version with the garbage soundtrack. So you have to go all the way back to the DS, really, to get like Resident Evil, like original Resident Evil 1. Which I think is really strange that they've sort of like let those PS1.
I don't know. They remade that game twice, and they can sell the remakes for more money, and the remakes are really good. So I can kind of see why they wouldn't be that bothered to.
But why not double dip, right?
Yeah,
sell them both. Like,
I'm sure someone has a spreadsheet somewhere where they figure that they won't get.
Also, I wouldn't say they remade it. They didn't remake it twice. I mean, the cut does not qualify as a remake.
No, but there's 2 different versions of Resident Evil 1 up-res. There's the GameCube/Wii version, and then there's the modern one, right?
Right. Well,
those are not the same, are they?
Well, no, they're the same. It's just an HD version of the GameCube remake.
Oh, okay. I thought it was more fancier.
No, it's literally an up-res of. I mean, It has some more bonus stuff, but the layout of the mansion, the bosses, like the main game is identical.
But are the graphics all new, or?
No, they're the same. I mean, they put in like Chris's Resident Evil 6 character model that you can use optionally, and the same with Jill. But like, other than that, the character model.
Why would you want to do that?
You wouldn't, like, especially because they look. The Chris model looks really incongruous with everything else in that game. Like, I mean, I get it; it's a fun thing that they to put it in there that way. But it's really weird because you. Didn't you just open a teleporter that's like right by the boss?
I
think a teleporter is not worth much for you because the teleporters are only within each level, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I could go back. I can go back to the castle and save. I just didn't because I didn't expect. I thought it would start me back at the beginning of the level.
Oh wait, actually, it looks like the boat is different from the prison, and you can now just jump to the prison if you look at the map screen. So I guess.
Well, no, because I didn't save it. I had to go through that level again, but now I can go back to the thing, save, but it just seems like there should just be a save point at the beginning of the level instead of making me do that. But whatever.
Right near
I'm starting to see why I didn't play that much of this game. Because, man, those transition levels are boring as all hell.
Some of them are, yeah. Definitely. They all pretty much feel like hallways.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This game seems okay. I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, it looks really good, especially for the hardware. And considering that, I mean, we've talked about this before, but in 2008, if you wanted to play a 2D video game, this was pretty much your only, there were not a lot of console games coming out that were still 2D.
Around then, things were starting to pick up.
I mean, kind
like, when did Summer of Arcade begin?
A couple years.
I was say, we feel like we just did this not that long ago, and we figured out it was like 2010.
Okay.
Summer of Arcade. Known as Winter of Arcade in the Southern Hemisphere.
That's great.
Oh,
My
no,
son will be really
2008.
happy.
2008 was the first year. That was Bionic Commando Rearmed, Braid, Castle Crashers, Galaga Legions, and Geometry Wars.
Right, but it's fair to say that before that, consoles had completely forsaken 2D games for a pretty long time, right?
Right. And even then, a lot of those games are kind of like, I mean, Braid is a pretty good looking game. Castle Crashers is fantastic. But like Bionic Commando Rearmed is an amazing game, which I actually just replayed some of for the most recent episode of Same Name, Different Game. That game's still super good, but it doesn't look very good. It's 2.5.
Yeah, early 2.5D.
But it's still super good. If you haven't played Bionic Commando Rearmed in a minute, like, man, you should revisit Bionic Commando Rearmed because that's a
So tell me something. There was a thing where they patched that game and they added a bunch of like safety platforms and you could not turn them off. I want to say
you had to bump the difficulty up to the hardest difficulty.
Is that still the case?
Yes, but when I re-downloaded it because I had a hard drive failure on my PS3 a couple years ago, so I hadn't re-downloaded it yet. And when I did re-download it and started playing it, it said right away, like it downloads the base game, and then when you play the first time, it's like, oh, there's a patch. You can't like post to the leaderboard until you download the patch. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm not downloading the patch. So you can just not download the patch, at least on PS3. I assume it's the same. Xbox. Probably if you get it on Steam, it automatically downloads the patch. I'm guessing, but I don't know for sure.
That's a bummer, man. That game was so good.
No, Bomberman is different.
Yeah, that game was so good, and then they kind of force you into this safety mode and kind of mess with the difficulty curve. That's just they had it and then they lost it. I think that my Xbox 360 has the non-patched version of the game. For what that's worth, but just who knows what. I also have a cartridge of Bionic Commando, so
I just played them both. They're similar but not congruent for sure.
You know, it adds a couple of interesting levels and stuff.
The boss fights are way better in Rearmed than they are. The boss fights are trash in NES Bionic Commando. I like NES Bionic Commando a lot. I'm sure you watched the video, Mike. I like
of course,
NES
when I watched
Bionic
the video,
Commando.
I was agreeing with everything you said.
Yes, I like NES Bionic Commando a lot, but the boss fights suck.
Well, the one nice thing about them is that they're extremely short.
Well, yeah. But Rearmed adds like a lot of really, and I actually had forgotten how cool the boss fights were in Rearmed until I played like the first two of them, and I was like, oh, that's right, like you actually use your arm to like do stuff in these boss fights. Like there's like a big tractor that you unscrew parts of it with your bionic arm, and then you have to bait it into charging you where the platforms are, so you can reach the screws and unscrew them with your bionic arm and that stuff. And that's all really cool. And the NES game doesn't do any of that stuff. Also, Mike, since I know you're a Bionic Commando super fan just like me, if you've never played the Game Boy version, the Game Boy version is super good.
I don't think I have played. I know I've heard that forever for years and years. Eric, that force power thing that you had earlier, I think might do a ton of damage to the skeleton. Like kind of white.
Well, so I don't have any. I keep forgetting that for some stupid reason in this game, the save points only refill your health and not your MP, so you have to go to one of those wells and suck all the hearts out of it to fill your...
Oh, you need hearts for that.
Yeah, so
just make sure you don't go to the well once too often, or the skeleton.
Yeah, oh boy.
That might be what happened to Castlevania.
There was a well in this building someplace, right?
There was.
Was it over here, or was it in one of the training rooms?
Might show up on your map, I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
What?
The well doesn't show up on your map.
Why not?
Well.
That's
well,
dumb. You know what? That's a dumb, bad decision that they should not have made. You should just refill your magic at the... Like, the cool thing about this game is using all of your awesome powers, and they seem to limit it quite a bit.
What if we made that as hard as possible?
Yeah, it's not a great decision.
Alright, well, it's getting kind of late, so I think I'm gonna bail for tonight.
That's dumb. I gotta traverse 4 fucking rooms.
Yeah, sleep is dumb, Joe. What kind of dumb person sleeps?
But alright, well,
I didn't say I was gonna
we'll
sleep.
We'll call it a night then.
Alright, sounds good.
Now that you're done talking about stupid Bionic Commando.
Yeah, that game sucks.
Yep.
Oh, that's good.
Thanks, Alex.
You know, if you could just like...
No, it's good.
jump,
I'm just kidding.
be a lot
Gee,
easier.
Eric, have you heard of Bionic Commando Rearmed 2? I bet you'd love it.
You can jump in
I
that
don't
one,
know. Did they make
apparently.
one of those?
They did, and you can
They
jump
did.
in it.
Cool.
You can jump.
Nah.
Which I've heard actually kind of ruins it. I've never actually played Rearmed.
It's
I know, I played like one and
Why
a
would
half
you
levels of it, and I
do
got
that?
really bored, and I stopped.
Like, why would you add jumping to the game where it's like, yeah, you don't jump in this game?
Because people like
the whole
Eric
thing.
exist.
I mean, especially since the guy who made the the original specifically said like I didn't put a jump, like jumping would have ruined it and made it easy, and you wouldn't use the arm if you could jump. That's why there's no jump.
Right.
It's like, yep.
But
that
also,
makes
what
sense.
if you could jump?
Right.
You might as well. Dun,
Anyway, Joe, I will
dun,
say there's one
dun.
unforgivable thing about the remake of that game, and that's the haircut.
What about the mustache in the sequel?
That's amazing.
I mustache you.
That's
a
like the
question.
only one. That's the only thing that makes the sequel worthwhile, I would
Stream's
say.
over.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
We're done talking about Konami games like Bionic Commando.
That's not.
Man, Konami made a lot of good games.
Anyway, Order of Ecclesia, I'm really bummed
Hey,
out. that this game is not-
Whatever happened to Konami? They're still around, right?
Yeah,
Erotic violence, pachinko.
they're coming back. They're putting out. They put out that Contra game.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that
they
looked
put
real
out
good.
that
That's-
Metal Gear game that sucked.
You mean you didn't want Contra to become like a
Don't use a sword in the skeleton.
based
Don't you have like a club or something?
Diablo game?
I don't think it. Do you think it'll make any difference?
Yes.
I can try. I don't. I have a hammer.
Yeah,
Does
use the
does
hammer.
this game have like blunt damage?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Or 20.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. Easy Mike knows what I mean.
Oh yeah, it does. That does 15 damage. Doesn't indicate
That makes me
anywhere,
high as
but-
hell.
Uh-huh. All right. I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Bye, Joe.
We'll be back tomorrow
Oh
with something
no, I'm
else.
getting punched by a
probably.
skeleton. Yeah, we'll
That
talk
skeleton's
about it.
punching
It's a
you.
big skeleton, I'm just
That's
saying.
it. We're done. We figured it out. We solved the skeleton problem, but I don't want to play this anymore because I know that I'll kill the skeleton and then I'll have to walk down a really long hallway. So
Yes, that's
Then
true.
you're gonna get to the crab.
Crap.
I mean, I assume the crab is also weak to hammering, right? Or maybe I need some
Probably.
kind of
Yeah,
pincher
I
thing.
believe
No,
it
you
is.
need a big nutcracker to get the crab. Actually,
Alright.
And
That's-
some
I mean-
garlic butter.
Yeah, if he's anything like
you
a
spray
real,
hot
like
butter
real
at
life.
it and hit it with a nutcracker,
Oh,
and that
boy.
takes care of the crab right away.
Good night, everybody.
Mhm.